Rihanna has always been the undisputed queen of keeping it cool. From red carpets to world tours, she's the definition of unbothered. But let's be real. Everyone has a breaking point, and tonight that point was pushed to the absolute limit. Imagine you're standing just feet away in a room full of industry elites, while one of the world's most famous supermodels tries to move in on your man. We've seen the rumors, we've seen the history, but what happened at this exclusive afterparty was something no one expected. Kendall Jenner didn't just cross the line, she completely ignored it. While the cameras were flashing elsewhere, a private moment of innocent flirting between Kendall and A$AP Rocky turned into the ultimate disrespect. And the worst part? Rihanna saw every single thing. She didn't just walk away, she let the world know exactly where she stands. From the cold stares to the heated words that left the room in dead silence. Today, we're breaking down the shocking moment Rihanna finally lost it after catching Kendall flirting with Rocky right in front of her. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. The night was supposed to be a celebration. A star-studded afterparty following one of the biggest fashion events of the year. But in the world of the ultra-famous, the air is never just filled with perfume and expensive champagne. It's filled with tension. And on this particular night, you could practically feel the electricity in the room. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky walked in looking like the ultimate power couple. I mean, let's be honest, when these two enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. They are the gold standard of relationship goals. But as the night went on, the vibe started to change. While Rihanna was busy networking with designers and fellow moguls, Rocky found himself in a corner that was a little too crowded for comfort. And right at the center of that crowd was none other than Kendall Jenner. Now, to understand why what happened next was so explosive, we have to look back. This isn't just a random interaction. The history between the Kar-Jenners and the music industry's elite is, well, it's complicated. Kendall and Rocky have a history that goes way back to 2016. They were seen together at fashion weeks, late-night dinners, and even Coachella. At one point, the world was convinced they were an item. Fast forward to now, Rocky is with the mother of his children, the woman he calls the one. But old habits or old chemistries don't just disappear, do they? Sources at the party say that from the moment Kendall arrived, her eyes were locked on one person. And it wasn't the designers or her supermodel friends. It was Rocky. As the music got louder, the distance between Kendall and Rocky got shorter. This wasn't just friendly chat. Witnesses claim Kendall was leaning in just a little too close. That classic Jenner charm on full display. We're talking about whispering in ears, light touches on the arm, and that specific type of flirting that screams, "I don't care who's watching." But here's the thing about Rihanna. She doesn't miss a beat. She might be the queen of savage, but she's also incredibly observant. While she was across the room, she kept an eye on her man. And what she saw wasn't just two friends catching up. She saw the hair flips, the giggles, and the way Kendall was positioned, completely ignoring the fact that Rocky's partner, the woman who literally changed his life, was standing right there in the same building. It was the ultimate sign of disrespect. In the industry, there's an unspoken rule. You don't move like that when the queen is in the building. But Kendall? She seemed to be playing a very dangerous game. She was flirting like no one was watching, but unfortunately for her, the only person whose opinion mattered was watching every single move. Rocky, for his part, seemed caught in the middle. Was he just being polite? Or was he enjoying the attention? People in the room noticed his body language was stiff, but he didn't pull away immediately. Maybe he thought Rihanna wouldn't notice. Maybe he thought it wasn't a big deal. But for Rihanna, it was a massive deal. You could see the shift in her expression. The smile she had for the cameras faded. Her posture sharpened. She handed her drink to an assistant, took a deep breath, and started walking. And when Rihanna walks with that look in her eyes, you know something is about to go down. The room went quiet, the whispers started, and the stage was set for the most awkward, high-stakes confrontation Hollywood has seen in years. Everyone knows that Rihanna doesn't do things halfway. If she feels disrespected, she's going to address it, and she doesn't care if there are 100 cameras or 1,000 witnesses. The social hierarchy of that room shifted in an instant. Kendall, who is used to being the center of attention in any room she enters, suddenly looked very small as Rihanna approached. It wasn't just about flirting anymore. It was about the audacity. To do it right in front of her? To act like Rihanna wasn't the one who built the empire they were all standing in? The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. As Rihanna got closer, Rocky's face reportedly went pale. He knew he was about to be in the center of a storm that no amount of charm could fix. This was the moment the party stopped and the real drama began, leaving everyone wondering, what exactly did Rihanna say when she finally reached them? As Rihanna made her way across that crowded room, the atmosphere didn't just change, it froze. You have to understand, Rihanna isn't just a pop star, she is an institution. When she moves, people move with her, but this time the crowd parted like the Red Sea. Every eye in that VIP lounge was locked on the scene about to unfold. Kendall Jenner, who had been leaning in close to Rocky, laughing at something he said, suddenly realized the temperature in the room had dropped to zero. The look Rihanna was giving wasn't just anger. It was pure, unadulterated authority. It was the look of a woman who knows exactly what belongs to her and has zero patience for anyone trying to play games. The witnesses say the music felt like it faded into the background as Rihanna finally reached the duo. For a second, there was a deafening silence. Rocky, caught in the headlights, reportedly tried to play it off with a smile, but Rihanna wasn't having any of it. She didn't start screaming or causing a scene like you'd see in a reality show. She was much more calculated than that. She walked right into Kendall's personal space, asserting her dominance without saying a single word at first. The audacity of Kendall to be flirting so openly, brushing Rocky's shoulder, and whispering in his ear while Rihanna was in the same zip code, let alone the same room, was finally being addressed. According to those close to the situation, Rihanna's first words were sharp and straight to the point. She didn't look at Rocky, she kept her eyes deadlocked on Kendall. She reportedly asked her, in that signature Bajan tone, if she had forgotten where she was or who she was dealing with. Kendall, who is usually the one in control of the narrative, allegedly couldn't even find the words to respond. She looked stunned. It's one thing to flirt with a rapper at a party, but it's another thing entirely to be confronted by the mother of his children, a billionaire mogul who has spent years building a life with him. The disrespect was loud, but Rihanna's reaction was louder. The confrontation quickly turned into a masterclass in how to handle a homewrecker energy without losing your crown. Rihanna reportedly told Kendall that the little games she plays with other people weren't going to work here. She made it clear that Rocky wasn't just some guy she was dating. He was her family. Seeing Kendall try to use her usual supermodel charm on Rocky right in front of her was an insult to everything they had built. Rocky was reportedly standing there looking like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. He tried to intervene to say it wasn't that deep, but Rihanna allegedly shut that down instantly. One look from her, and he knew that any defense of Kendall in that moment would be a betrayal of his own household. What made this lose-it moment so iconic was the sheer confidence Rihanna displayed. She didn't need to throw a drink or get physical. Her presence alone was enough to make Kendall look like a deer in headlights. People at the party claimed Kendall tried to laugh it off, pretending she was just being friendly, but Rihanna wasn't buying the act. She called out the friendly excuse for exactly what it was: a lack of boundaries. She told Kendall that if she wanted to be friendly, she could do it with someone who wasn't taken, especially not by a woman who has supported her in the past. That was the sting that really hurt, the reminder that they moved in the same circles and that Kendall should have known better. The tension peaked when Rihanna reportedly told Kendall she needed to find another corner of the room to occupy. It wasn't a suggestion, it was an order. The power dynamic was so clear that Kendall actually did it. She didn't argue. She didn't stay and fight. She took her friends and moved to the other side of the lounge, leaving Rihanna and Rocky alone in the wake of the storm. But the drama didn't end there. The moment Kendall walked away, all eyes turned back to Rocky. The flirtation was over, but the conversation between the power couple was just beginning. Rihanna turned her full attention to Rocky, and witnesses say the conversation was intense. She wasn't just mad at Kendall, she was disappointed in him for allowing the energy to even reach that point. This wasn't about a lack of trust, it was about respect. In that world, reputation is everything, and allowing a high-profile model to flirt with you in public while your partner is watching is a bad look for any man, let alone ASAP Rocky. The room watched as they spoke in low, hushed tones, but the body language told the whole story. Rihanna was setting the record straight, making sure he understood that her losing it wasn't about jealousy, it was about protecting their brand and their family from the messy narrative Kendall was trying to create. As they eventually left the party, the whispers didn't stop. They had just given the world the most talked about confrontation of the year, leaving everyone to wonder if things would ever be the same again. The aftermath of that confrontation was like a shockwave that didn't just stay inside the walls of the party. It spilled out into the streets and onto every social media feed across the globe. As Rihanna and Rocky exited the venue, the paparazzi flashes were more aggressive than ever. Rihanna kept her head high, her face a mask of stone-cold composure, while Rocky followed a few steps behind, looking like a man who knew he had a lot of explaining to do. The silence in the car ride home must have been deafening, but while they were dealing with the fallout in private, the internet was absolutely exploding. Within minutes, leaked clips and eyewitness accounts started flooding TikTok and X. Everyone had a version of the story, but the core was the same. Kendall Jenner had crossed a line and Rihanna had put her in her place. The public reaction was swift and brutal. Rihanna's fan base, the Navy, didn't waste a single second. They flooded Kendall's comments with red balloons and anchor emojis, calling out the supermodel for what they perceived as a total lack of girl code. The narrative was clear. You don't flirt with a man who is clearly committed, especially when his partner is the one and only Rihanna. But the drama went deeper than just fan comments. Industry insiders started whispering about the long-term impact on the friendship between the Jenners and Rihanna. For years, these two power families had coexisted in the same elite circles, often seen at the same events and supporting the same brands. But this incident created a massive rift. Rumors began to circulate that Rihanna had reached out to her team to ensure that she and Kendall were never booked for the same exclusive events again. She wasn't just angry, she was done. The disrespect of being flirted with right in her face was a boundary that couldn't be uncrossed. As for Rocky, the pressure was on. He found himself in the middle of a PR nightmare. Fans were dissecting his every move in the background of those grainy party videos. Was he leaning into? Did he enjoy the attention? The narrative started to shift toward his accountability. While Kendall was being blamed for the flirting, Rocky was being grilled for not shutting it down the second it started. Sources close to the rapper claimed he spent the following days doing everything in his power to make it up to Rihanna, realizing that no amount of industry chemistry with a model was worth risking the family and the legacy he had built with the Queen of Fenty. Her team tried to put out statements saying the whole thing was blown out of proportion, and that she and Rocky were just old friends catching up. But the public wasn't buying it. The visual of Rihanna's face during that confrontation was burned into everyone's memory. There is a difference between catching up and the kind of high-stakes flirting that Kendall was caught doing, and the world knew exactly what they saw. This incident also sparked a larger conversation about the culture of celebrity afterparties and the untouchable status supermodels often feel they have. It was a reminder that no matter how much fame or likes you have, there are certain people you just don't play with. Rihanna reminded the world that she is not just a celebrity, she is a force of nature. She protected her relationship and her dignity with a level of savage grace that only she could pull off. She didn't have to trend on social media to prove she was right. The fact that Kendall was the one who had to leave the corner proved who really held the power in that room. As the days turned into weeks, the dust began to settle, but the landscape of Hollywood's elite social circle had permanently changed. The Met Gala betrayal, as it came to be known, served as a warning to anyone who thought they could slide into the DMs or the personal space of a high-profile couple without consequences. Rihanna and Rocky eventually made a public appearance, looking as solid as ever, sending a silent message to the world. They are unbreakable. Kendall, on the other hand, laid low for a while, staying away from the music-heavy parties that had once been her playground. The final verdict from the fans and the industry was unanimous. In a world of supermodels and stars, there is only one Rihanna. She caught the disrespect, she addressed it head-on, and she walked away with her crown perfectly intact. The lesson was learned the hard way. If you're going to try and flirt with the king, you better make sure the queen isn't standing right there. Because when Rihanna loses it, she doesn't just get mad, she wins. And as the video ends, we have to ask ourselves, was this Kendall's biggest mistake, or was it a calculated move that simply met its match? Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the scandals that shake the industry. So there you have it. The night a high-fashion celebration turned into a battlefield of respect and royalty. But now, I want to hear from the most important people in this conversation. Was Kendall Jenner's behavior just a case of old friends being friendly, Or was it a calculated move of pure disrespect right in Rihanna's face? There's a very thin line between being social and being messy, and it seems like the internet is completely divided on where that line was crossed that night. Is this the beginning of the end for the friendship between the Kar-Jenners and Rihanna? Or is this just another Hollywood scandal that will be forgotten by next season? More importantly, do you think A$AP Rocky did enough to shut it down, or should he have walked away the moment things got uncomfortable? We see these headlines every day, but it's rare to see a queen like Rihanna handle a situation with such savage authority. Drop a comment below right now. Are you #Team Rihanna for protecting her family and her peace? Or do you think the media is blowing this out of proportion for #Team Kendall? I'm reading every single comment and I want to know who you think really held the power in that room. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to stay updated on every secret, every scandal, and every unseen moment from the world of the elite, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you the truth behind the headlines. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so you never miss a beat. We've got more investigations, more leaked stories, and more industry breakdowns coming your way very soon. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.